Hello everyone and welcome back to Painting with Martin. Today I'm back with another review video and also a short playthrough of a game called Monumental Duel. The module is called Exploration, published by FunForge Games and designed by Matthew Dunstan and released in 2024. I had the privilege of meeting FunForge Games at Essen Spiel last year and they gave me all three modules for this game. So thank you very much to FunForge Games. It really means a lot to the channel. In this video I'm going to give you a short run through of how to play the game, as well as going to final scoring. I will not play the whole game for you, and I will give you my honest opinion about the game regardless what anyone thinks. And this is my opinion. I'm not paid by anyone to say this, and this is how it is. So let's get straight into it. In Monumental Duel Exploration, you will play as one of three civilizations. You choose one. In this game, I've chosen the Chinese, and there are three different ones for this game. There are the Danish as well as the Egyptians for this module. However, for all the Monumental Duel modules, you can combine them as you see fit, and for a full explanation about this, please see page number 6 in the rulebook. The first thing you will do, you will set up the game. You will put up the neutral buildings, also known as the basic buildings, on the side or in the center of your table. You will put the exploration decks. You will put the development display, also known as the market in most games. You will put out your city in 3 rows like this, as well as your deck that you will refill your display from, your warlord, your scout, your cultural policy cards, your player aids, as well as this one over here, also known as the advantage, which should be set here on the neutral side. My apologies. This is a small box for things like bits and pieces that I've bought separately. It does not come with the game box. Otherwise, I put some basic resources out over here, and every player also starts with 2 gold. Then you're ready to start playing. You will take turns by simply taking your turns, and the opponent will play his or her turn. You'll go back and forth until both players pass, and then you will go into replenishment phase. After you've activated your city, which you are going to do right now, you will go into an action phase. And you will activate your city by simply activating 1 row and 1 column of your choice, and getting the resources associated with those cards. Now, you can choose anything you want, and if you activate a knowledge card underneath here, you activate both cards. Now, let's say I activate this column here, as well as this one here. I gain the following resources. I gain 1 production, 1 military, another production, and if I gained at least 2 production this round, I gained a gold. So let's go over here. I will gain 1 gold for this one, 2 basic productions, 2 military, and I can at least do this one, pay 1 resource to archive 1 card. However, this is a city action, so I don't get to do this right now. Now, opponents will do exactly the same, activating his or her city, and you're ready to go. Any other cards are considered non-activated and will not be used this round. On your turn, you can do the number of actions, and they are very, for your ease and convenience, summarized here on this turn action list with card references, a reference to each page in the rulebook on the side here. Well done, FunForge Games, for doing this. Really well done. There's also a victory point display over here to see how many victory points you will score at the end of the game, and whoever has the most victory points will win this game. The game will be over when there are 4 or less cards in the development display, in which you will play 1 final round and then go to final scoring. But let's not do that right now. The first thing you will do is think about what actions you can take. One of the actions you can take is simply use the effect of an activated card in your city. This is an activated card. I can pay 1 basic resource to archive 1 card. A basic resource is anything but gold and cultural tokens, and if you don't spend the resources, they will be lost until the end of the round. Gold and cultural tokens can be saved. Now, if I do an archiving card, that means I remove it from the game, and means I have to archive a card that has not been used. Either this one, this one, this one, or this one. And that's a way to thinning out my deck, and making sure that I only get good cards when I get them from development display. And let's go into this one. I can either buy a card from a basic building card by paying the cost, associated on each card, and as soon as I buy a card by paying the resources available to me, either a combination of either paying production or paying gold, or a combination of the two, I place it on top of my deck as such, not in my discard pile. Then I know exactly what cards will come into play next round. I do exactly the same with the buildings on display in the development display. So if I buy this market, I pay 3 production and place it on top of my deck. If I, however, want to build a wonder has 2 stages. I build the first part of the wonder by paying 3 production, placing it underneath here in my play area, placing this little token on top of it. If I do so, I can later on in the round or next round complete the wonder by paying 3 more production, and I gain the immediate lightning effect when built, draw 1 card and use it. Then I place the wonder card on top of my deck, and then when I refill my set later on, I know exactly which card will come out, which will be this wonder or any other cards that I bought this round. And then I gain the effect over here. So let's assume I did that. Let's go on what else I can do. I can also buy, for example, these knowledge cards, and knowledge cards are paid in science. If I didn't get any science, I can also use gold for that reason. Now, what else can you do? You can also develop a cultural policy, or use the effect of an active cultural policy. Those are 2 separate actions. If I have these culture tokens, I can use them, and it costs 1 to spend the first one to actually develop your first cultural policy. You can choose freely from the number of cultural policies you have in your area, and the one you choose is very important. So say, for example, I choose inland waterways. That means whenever I archive a card, I gain its effect beforehand. I also gain 1 gold. I gain the effect immediately, and whenever I use this action here, whenever I use either the action or I use an action on a card that allows me to get this bonus, I use this thing here. So that means I gained 1 gold. If I develop another cultural policy, another round, or the current round, I simply take the new card and cover the top of it, and that means the effect of it is no longer available. It's replaced by the new one, but I gain both lightning symbols here, both immediate ones. And it goes on like this. And cultural policy cards are worth 2 points for every one that you developed in the end of the game. So they're very good. Now, the other thing you can do is that you can take the advantage. Take the advantage means that you simply have this card over here by spending 2 basic resources. In this case, I'm spending 2 production. And that means the advantage are turned towards me. That means I have the advantage until someone else takes it. If someone else wants to take it, meaning my opponent, that means he or she will simply have to pay 3 resources of the same resources, and gold cannot be used for this purpose. That means, very easy, they will discard the resources on top of the card, spend their resources on top of it, and turn the advantage to their side. If I have the advantage, I can usually activate my warlord. In this case, it's Hua Mulan. And that means I spend 1 these activation token, plus on the top. If I have the advantage, I can pay 1 basic resource to gain 1 culture. And as I said before, basic resources are military, science, or production. And I gain 1 culture as a good way of getting culture tokens, which are also really hard to get during the game. Now, besides that, you can also make scientific progress. Now, scientific progress is easy. You spend 2 of these scientific resources, as such over here. Now, when you do so, you can draw the top card of your deck and use it. In this case, it was my wonder. That means I gain 1 basic building if I control an agricultural province, then draw and use it. That means I can gain 1 of these basic buildings. If I control an agricultural province, I can draw and use the basic building. Now, I don't control an agricultural province, so let's have a look at what I can do to get that one. Maybe I want to do that first. My apologies. Now, in order to get a province, I need to pay the cost in military, or a combination of military and gold. I do this one. I simply spend 3 military. I place it in my play area over here, and I gain 2 basic matching resources. Provinces are worth victory points at the end of the game. They're worth 1 victory point for each controlled, and you place them in a stack on top of each other. You do so because your opponent can also attack them if you and take control of them, but they don't get the immediate effect. Only you get that once. Game 2 basic magic resources. So that's a good way of getting resources as well. Now, you don't refill the development display at any point. You only do that in the end of the round, and I'll come to that in a bit. Sorry about that. Now, if I want to protect myself from getting attacked, I can buy these barricades, and I place this one on top, no, actually underneath the province. And if I do so, it will cost more military to conquer it. Another thing you can do is you can use your scout. And this is the bread and butter of this module. If you're using your scout, you simply put a token on top of your scout, and then you can draw from the current era. We're in era 1, there will be era 2, era 3 afterwards. Now, as soon as you refill the display here. So, in order to do so, I need military. It costs me 1 military because we are in era 1, plus 1 for every extra card I want to draw. So if I want to draw 2 cards, I will pay 2 military, and I will draw 2 cards and use 1 of them. So let's have a look at the cards you can get. Either you can keep the card and you keep it face down and to use the effect as normal, or you gain 1 military. Keep this card is worth 1 military. It's worth 1 victory point at the end of the game, and whatever you don't choose is put in the discard pile. You can only explore from the current era. So if we were in era 2, you can explore from era 2 or an early era as well. And if you ever run out of cards, you will shuffle the discarded pile into a new draw deck. And your play continues like this until you are ready to pass. And of course, any resources are lost. And of course, if you want to explore from a later era deck and you are in era 2, then of course you have to pay more military. 2 for this one, 3 for this one, and more for every card you draw. Please see the rulebook exactly how to do this. Now, when you're ready to, both players have passed, then you look at your city. First of all, you're going to have to do 2 things. First, you're going to discard all cards that you activated in your city, as such. Putting it down over here as your discarded pile. All right? Then you will refill your development, your city, from left to right and top to bottom. It's very important to do this in this order. That means right now you have the pyramids that we just built coming out, and as such. If you ever run out of cards, and then of course you will shuffle back your discarded pile into forming a new draw deck. However, it's very important because one thing that you can also do, maybe I said it, maybe I didn't, you can use scientific progress as drawing the top 2 cards, drawing the top card by paying 2 scientific resources. If there are no cards left to draw, you simply cannot do that action. Now, gold is kept until the next round, but basic resources are not. Culture tokens are also kept. And of course, your cultural policies. Now, then it's time to refill the development display. Development display is a little bit tricky sometimes, but if you are 3 cards or more that are simply here, as in this example, you will simply discard the rightmost one until there are 3 left, and simply fill up until you have 6. If there are if you didn't buy any cards, you simply discard 3 cards from the display and simply refill the display. You will then discard 1 resource token from the advantage. If you still have the advantage, you still have it, even if there are no resources on it. And then player the player token, the first player token, also known as this one, will play pass to the next player. Now, if there are only four or fewer cards left in the development display, as in this one, it will trigger the end game. You will play one final round and go to final scoring. Final scoring is very easy. You will score 2 victory points for every wonder card, cultural policy, and cultural policy card. 1 victory point for every knowledge card, which are these ones, including the ones you have in your deck from the beginning of the game. 1 victory point for every province that you've conquered, as well as 1 victory point for each exploration card besides your city, such as this one. Now, you will also score something called dominance bonus. That is 3 victory points for each of the categories in which you have the majority of the cards, such as wonder cards, cultural policies, knowledge cards, and province cards. And if of course, ties are friendly. You will sum up all your victory points, and of course, basic resources, including gold and culture tokens, are not worth any points. Whoever has the most points wins Monumental Duel Exploration. If there's a tie, whoever has the advantage will gain the winning title. And if there's still a tie, gold breaks the tiebreaker. And then there is still a tie, then culture tokens are breaking the ties. And of course, if there is still a tie, then you've played really well. Go and get yourself something to eat, maybe grab a coffee, and play the game again and enjoy a shared victory. If you like this kind of videos, please enjoy seeing more of my, and if you want to see more of my, me doing these kind of videos, and also want to see more painting videos, please subscribe to my channel. So what do I think about this game? Monumental Duel has some really good sides. Let's start with those. The first thing is that I really like that it's asymmetrical. You can combine modules into whatever you want. There are different kinds of civilizations. I really like that. I also like the exploration part. You don't really know what you're going to get. I like the resource management. I like if you buy a card, you get on top of your deck instead of your discard pile. Every game feels very different. It's a high replayability. It plays really well on 2 players. That's what it's designed for. Compared to the base game, which I've also played a number of times, this is much shorter and gives you a good feel for it. FunForge Games have done a phenomenal job to do this. I also like the card art very well. One thing I didn't like is that it doesn't come with a score pad. I would have appreciated that. And I also would have liked some kind of insert for the cards inside the box, or at least more plastic bags. There are only 2 of them, which means it takes a little bit longer to set up the game. But these are minor details. If anyone also knows what this symbol here means for this particular model, because I couldn't find that in the rulebook, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time in the next video. And have a phenomenal day.